Okay, so for my project, I knew when I saw the Cloud Vision API that I was going to do something for my final project with that, because I've actually been working on a personal project for a while of downloading. So for about a decade at least, I've been storing all the photos I take on my phone in Google Photos, and I wanted to store them privately also. So I've been working on downloading them all, tens of thousands of photos from Google Photos, and storing them myself. And, there's a lot of things that have to do with the metadata in the photos to get them, because I don't know if Google does it on purpose or what, but they sort of mess up a lot of the metadata when you download the photos from there. But besides the point, the one thing that I really like about Google Photos is how you can search for photos, and it uses its AI to, find what it thinks you're looking for. So when I download the photos from there and store them myself, you really can't do that without Google's AI. But I had an idea to use the Cloud Vision API to detect labels in the photos and then add them to the metadata of the photos. So I wanted to build an app that would do that, and I planned on having it have more functionality, but I just didn't have time to do everything I wanted. But I think what I did is pretty useful itself and can be expanded upon to make it even more useful. So start by checking out the code here from the repo. So let's do a git fetch. And I never remember this password. There we go. And then we'll do a git checkout. And the directory we want is the final. Okay, so there is our directory. So next is steps to run the project. So basically what I did was created a new project itself in Google Cloud, because I think that's the best way to go about it when you're doing an actual project. You want each one to have a different project. For my project, I had to enable the Cloud Run API, the Cloud Build API, and obviously the Cloud Vision API. And I created a new service account, this one here. And the only role that it needed is this service usage consumer. I believe that's just to use the APIs. To use the, what else? Oh, so when I was testing it locally, I made, sorry, let me go back here. That is wrong, sorry. Let me go here. So when I was testing it locally, I made some keys for this and stored it in a environment variable, but I don't think that's necessary for running it on Cloud Run, because when you build it with Cloud Build, you give it the name of the service account. So I don't think I have to have the key stored in an environment variable, but I did do that when I was testing it locally. So let's build the app with cloud build. So I've already got the command in here, so I don't have to type it all in. But yeah, basically it's just sort of the same one from one of the labs. We build it, we increase the timeout because it takes a while. We're going to do it to Google Cloud Run, and I'm naming it the container image AIT for AI image tags container image. So let's run that. And while that is going, because I know this one takes a while, I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so the container finished building. I realized, I think before I said it was building it to Google Cloud Run, and that's obviously not what I meant. I saw that GCR acronym, but Google Container Registry. That's what I meant to say. So here we can see the container that we just built in the container registry. Let me get this out of the way. And now we are going to run it, or deploy it, I should say, to Google Cloud Run. We're going to name the instance AIT, and then we give it the image that we just built and the service count. And that's what I was talking about before, that we supply the service count here. So I don't think we actually need the key in environment variable. So let's go ahead and run this and this up. So we will give, say, 33 for the US West 1 and allow unauthenticated invocations. And I will pause this again while this goes. All right, so that was pretty quick. So I guess I could have left it running. So yeah, we've deployed it to Google Cloud Run. So let's demo the app. So here is the URL. So let's bring that up. And so basically it, I guess I didn't describe what it does before exactly. I was going to sort of save that for the demo, but I should describe a little bit since not very self-explanatory. Basically, it prompts the user for a zip file containing JPEG images, which you upload, and then it uses the Cloud Vision to detect the labels in the images that are in that zip file, and it takes the labels that it generates and it adds it back into the file's metadata, and then it lets the user download a zip file with the updated images. So before I upload that, is going to show, so these are the images that we're going to be using, just a few to make it kind of quick, but let's just take this one for example. I just want to show that if you look, there's no the metadata tag that we're going to be using is in this one, and there's nothing in there now. So you'll see after we do it that there will be the tags in here. So I just wanted to show that there was nothing there already. And I've already put these into this zip file. So I've done this quite a bit of times already, practicing or testing. So we upload it, and then it's gonna process them. Takes not very long, and then it outputs the name of the file and then the labels that it detected for each one. So this is obviously the photo that we just looked at, Christmas tree, and then you can download the zip file with the updated images. So if we extract it and take a look inside and look at this same image now we can see that it added all these labels that it found to this subject metadata tag. And I did look this up, and this is the proper tag to add, or there's not really a proper one, but it's the most recommended one to add these keywords to for the photos. And this is using, and we'll see a little bit more when we get into the source code, this is using this Exif tool that is really popular for reading, writing, and editing metadata to photos. I've been using this for a little while from the command line, since I'm kind of a photography hobbyist, sort of. But they actually have, I've never used this before until this project, this Python library that, well, it uses a Python library to communicate with the instance of the command line application. So you still have to have the command line application installed, which I had to add a line to the Docker file, as we'll see, to install Exif tool into the image. So that is, and then we can go back home and do another one if we want. So it's pretty simple, but it's, I think, pretty useful. So we've demoed the app. Now we will walk through the source code a little bit. So I'm just going to do it from locally because I think it's just a little bit easier to see. So we'll start with the app.py file, the main file. So the main things we imported was, here's the Exif tool, the zip file, so we can extract and zip the folders, files from the user and to the user. We need the Cloud Vision API and then the Flask package with a bunch of the sub packages here. And so this is the home directory of our web page, which basically it takes in the uploaded file, it saves it to disk in the upload folder here, which is uploads is the folder that actually uses. Then it extracts the images, and then it performs the label detection and stores it in the subject tag, and then it sends you to the results.html page and displays the output and offers to you to download the image. So we'll go through each of these functions here that it uses before we get to this download one. So first, it uses this extract images, which is here. So basically it uses this zip file, what's what I'm looking for, class, to extract the image. I just had to follow a little tutorial for this because I never used this before. Yeah, it extracts the image and then it sort of goes through each image in the folder and puts the image, the path to the image and the path to the image file and the file name into a list called images, and that's what it returns back here. And then, so the detect labels function, it takes that image list and it, it passes the detect labels only acts on one image, so it loops through it here and passes them one at a time to this detect labels. So it instantiates a image annotator client from the Cloud Vision API, and then it looks at each image, gets the labels, and then it stores them in the here's where it instantiate. I was confused where it didn't instantiate this Exif tool, but it did. I see. So so as I was saying, it gets the labels for each image and then stores it in this subject tag in this Exif tool instance. And then it returns a list of the labels for each photo back to here. And then when it returns that list of labels, it appends it to a list of all the labels. And it sends that to the results.html file. Here's the labels, here's the images, and a file name. And that's helpful for creating the new updated zip file to download, which is, so here, we'll take a look at the results.html file first real quick. So yeah, it takes the labels, and for each one it displays the image name and the tags for that image. And then down here, it offers to download the image, and this is where that file name comes in, because it sends it back to the download function, so it knows what file name to use when building the new zip file. So here's that download function. So it basically, gets the file name from the one in the, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit, but it gets the file name, and then it compresses the images with this compress images function, which uses that zip file class again, or package. And then it also deletes the original extracted folder from the uploads directory. And then it returns the file name that it created. This one, it's just the original file name. In our case, we had photos.zip originally. Now it's going to be photos_updated.zip. And it sends that back, or it sends that file name back to the downloads, and then this is where it actually downloads it to the user's computer. And I better hurry up a little because I think this is running a little bit long. So yeah, we did the app, the requirements.txt. So here's our by Exif tool, Cloud Vision, Flask requests. Kind of went over that before. The templates is just the home and the results. The home is not very interesting. Inside here is just the style sheet that I used. This is just an empty directory well, I had to put a fake file in there in order to get to push to Git for some reason, but yeah, it's just an empty directory. So I guess the Docker file is the only other interesting thing. So here we're just using the Google Cloud SDK container. And this is all kind of normal stuff, except for this one here. This is what I mentioned earlier, having to install the Exif tool, Exif command line tool, because the Python package only, works with that command line tool. So yeah, that is the run through of the source code. And finally, we'll take a look at the Git history. Hopefully I'm not running over my time here. So it's starting here, the initial commit. And then I created like a Flask template, like a basic Flask app with basic templates just to get it up and running. And then I didn't commit for a while because what actually happened was I had read that the Cloud Vision API worked a lot faster with images in a Google Drive folder. And so I was trying to get it to use a Google Drive folder with images, which I actually did get it all working, but there was some kind of error. It wasn't even an error, but it just wasn't producing any labels. It wasn't detecting any labels. It just wouldn't give anything. It's just blank. So, and I decided it was actually better use case to do it from a local directory anyway. So I changed it to that. But when I was trying to do it from Google Drive, I was having to test it all in the Google Cloud platform, and so I wasn't really committing from there. I was trying to get it working, and I sort of went too far without committing. So a lot changed between here and here. But then I was back to testing it locally, so I was doing a lot more commits. So I, added the packages to the requirements. I here just updated the templates and the style sheet. This is where I added a lot of documentation, the PyDoc doc strings. Can I just go back this way? There we go. Then I had the compression algorithm in the downloads function. I moved that to its own function. Here I changed the port environment variable. I added this where I implemented the Docker file and added the Docker ignore file. This where so I was testing it and it was failing, and I realized I didn't install Exif tool in the Docker file, so that's where I added that. Also, this used to be under where it says if name equals main, and so when I was running it, from the container, it wasn't seeing the upload folder name. So I moved this out of there and up into a different area so it would see that folder name. And this is just a little bit of like cleanup. Here's what I was saying. I couldn't get that empty uploads directory to push to Git, and so I added like a fake like .tmp file in there to get it to push. And I added it to the wrong place first. So I had to do it again. So yeah, that's basically it. The only thing I have left to do is I need to add the URL into project URL, and then I need to add upload this to YouTube and add that, and I will be done. So yeah, that's my project. Thank you for the term. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in about a week, I guess, for what class is it? Object-oriented programming. That's what it is. And I'll also be taking the C, Rust, and Go class. All right. So see you next week or the following week.